anger is one of the most powerful motivators we have. I am reminded about how the mind works so often by looking at my son. He has such a primal rage inside of him when oh my goodness. And I try not to laugh in front of him because that's obviously mean. But I'm just reminded so much of myself in the anger I held. And it made me want to share my journey on how I was finally able to let go of my anger. Because to be honest, for a long time, I thought I benefited from my anger. And to be honest, I did. It pushed me to be better. But I'm going to go into the bad side of kind of what happens when our body gets addicted to those kind of motivators. And I'll say, first of all, probably don't come to me to learn. Obviously, I love to share my experiences, but people have shared what I'm going to teach you in better ways and more efficiently. So if you're here, I appreciate you sharing in the journey. A background on me, I grew up on Dragon Ball Z, on media, on dark side Star Wars, where emotions fueled people's power. Your will was the guiding factor in how successful you were in life. And for me, like, I don't believe that any emotion is bad as well. Our emotions are really just telling our body the honest truth on how we feel about our environment, and it's up to us to decide how we're going to react based on that. But why did I choose anger? I wanted to feel control. I remember reading a Star Wars book, and I read the Sith code, the dark side code. Peace is a lie. There's only passion. Through passion, we gain strength. Through strength, we gain victory. And through victory, our chains are broken. For me, when I hear something that rings true, I dive in, and so I own that. I came from a childhood where I felt trapped. I don't want to say I was bad, because I imagine, if my son acted the way I acted, I wouldn't want to label him as bad. And sometimes he acts so wild, like a monster. I think to do it, and I want to do it, but kids don't know what they're doing, obviously, and so you have to figure out why they're behaving that way, so that you can figure out how to change that behavior. But I was a bad kid. I would lie, cheat, steal, manipulate. I was always making mistakes, and like getting my ass beat weekly was just like a regular assumpted thing that was gonna happen. And so I still kept making them same mistakes over and over again. And it got to the point where, instead of trying to figure out why I was making those mistakes, I wanted to take control and say, okay, yeah, I want to make these mistakes. I am that bad guy. Because I had already kind of believed I was the bad guy, first of all. This is kind of a trouble when you have younger parents that are never together and don't like each other. They sometimes project the worst qualities onto you. But for me, that was just confirmation. Like, I was doing bad things all the time. And so, if you take those actions, yeah, obviously I'm doing bad things. That means, like, I'm obviously in control of what I do. I'm a bad person. And so I figured I was a Sith. I thought I was a bad guy. But because that's not actually who I am, like, in reality, if this life is an RPG, I'm picking honor mode. I'm not willingly gonna hurt somebody. I couldn't do it. It would hurt me to see someone hurt like that. And so I hated myself because I never changed. And it wasn't that I just hated myself, but I hated this universe that I was in. I talk about this all the time about, my faith in God, but the one thing I had read growing up was that God had regretted making man, and that's why he had flooded the earth. And God, sometimes changes his mind. And so I had figured if he had made me in his image, obviously he had made a mistake with me. I had some sort of factory switch in me that had not gone off, and he made me one of the bad ones for all the power that he had given me. And I believe that, like, the Holy Spirit was inside me, and I was connected to God, and so he must have just put me here to be the bad guy. And for me, like, I was a role I was willing to. I like that. I was like, I'm the Vegeta of this world. I'm the guy that pushes the main hero out there to go be a better person. But again, that's not in line with the truth of this world. And so eventually I realized that, bad things don't make you a bad person, obviously. Now, not learning from your mistakes and not understanding why you make those mistakes and consistently repeating those mistakes, those are what are going to trap you into a bad cycle. But one thing about stress and anger, and this is really important, is our body gets addicted to emotions. And whether it's something like stress or anger, getting all those hormones your body is going to release, the cortisol, the adrenaline, if your body is consistently going through these, your body is going to start getting addicted to these emotions, addicted to getting that feeling, even if it's a negative feeling. And now what that's going to cause you to do is then start taking conscious or unconscious acts that are going to make you, well, that are going to put you in that same cycle and take those same actions so that you feel those same emotions. Now, as a child, that's not something most people are going to be able to be aware of, but as adults, it's our responsibility to be aware of this so that we can break those cycles. But then, I hadn't learned how far that actually goes. And you have to ask yourself sometimes, like for me, because I thought I had become that villain, how much pain and suffering can you cause before you can't forgive yourself anymore? And And for me, again, this is a pivotal point in my life I talk about a lot. It was my brother passing away. And it's a story for another time, but the TLDR version is I felt responsible for my brother's death. And, technically, I still do. I left him with my mom when I was 17 years old, when she was living a lifestyle that I could not see myself a part of. It was revolting to me, and to be honest, there was a lot of stuff, and I don't want to shame my mom, I don't want to shame my dad, because again, these are imperfect people, but they tried their best. But I wasn't going to put myself in that situation anymore. But I was selfish, because even though I hated my mom, I hated that she was threatening my dad with a whole bunch of child support that I wasn't even sure how he was going to be able to pay it off, and even if he did, would me and my brother even see any money? But mostly it was me being selfish, because it was a girl. It was a girl that had gotten away, and I couldn't walk around thinking about her, seeing her. I wanted to be in a different environment. It's fucking selfish. And so I abandoned my brother for what I thought was going to be a better life. And for what? Like, when I came back, Dad's the same guy, he's just older. The same family that, when he passes away, they can't even sit next to me, fucking, because they can't get along with my mom. Like, what? Like, I left my best friend, my friends, my brother. And so, yeah, like, selfish piece of POS. And so I hated myself. I hated that I was such a piece of crap. And I hated God. I knew that he had made a mistake, just like he did with the flood, killing all the people. He stole my brother from me. And so, yeah, he was real. And at the end of the day, like, I know God takes care of everybody. And so I know he took care of my brother, and I know he's fine. And because I love my brother, I'm going to live for him. I'm going to help as many people as I possibly can. I'm going to make a positive impact on as many lives as possible. And I'm going to do it for him. And if I see my brother again, awesome. If not, like, I held up my side of the bargain. But it wasn't until I had found the truth about God, that God, wasn't some jerk in the sky. After I had found out about Islam, I had found that the guidance that I had always expected from him was here the whole time. I had always wondered why did all the miracles stop? Why did for last 2,000 years we just stop seeing miracles? We get all the prophets since the beginning of time, and then we don't see him anymore. Come on, what happened? But you get the Quran, the verbatim words of God, and it gives you clarity that God, he tells you that, like, he is all compassionate, he is all knowing, he doesn't change his mind, he didn't let the Messiah die and get tortured, he forgives our sins. And so knowing this, and knowing that he gave us the cheat code that this life is a test, and that everything that happens isn't happening to us, it's happening for us. Even those tragic events, this life, boom, over in an instant. And he knows a lot more than what we know. And so if you just pass that test, like, guys, you're gonna see that happiness. I used to dream about traveling back in time. If only I had this knowledge and I just went back, I could fix this and fix that. I wouldn't, even if God gave me the power to go back in time. Wouldn't do it. And I know everything is here for a reason. Now, was that the end of all of my anger? No, but very close. Because even when you know the truth, even when you know right from wrong, that doesn't mean you're going to always make the right choices. That's why you're never going to find a perfect Muslim. Now, I had found that there were relationships, personal and business-wise, that I was holding because they were some of the longest relationships that I held. And as someone who, coming from the background that I've had, I didn't want to lose that. But eventually, the question I had to ask myself was, knowing what I know today, would I get into a relationship with this person again? And because the answer was no, I had to say, okay, then how do I make sure I end this relationship? Now, as soon as I made that, my anger, did it go away immediately? No, because there's a grieving process, obviously. But since then, guys, so much peace. Oh my goodness. I used to have to go to the chiropractor all the time. I thought it was because I was doing crazy intense workouts. Stress. Fine. And so, just concluding this video because it went a little bit long. Things are not happening to you. They are happening for you. And if you can find a way to shift your view of reality so you can find a way to see the positive in every single thing that happens to you, or have faith that it's leading you to somewhere, the trajectory for your life is going to take you in ways you couldn't even dream. Your bodies get addicted to the emotions that you consistently surround them with. If you're constantly stressed and addicted to stress, you're going to start putting yourself in situations that cause that stress. So start identifying those habits that you're creating. Enjoy this life, enjoy this game. So many people, especially thinking about Islam, think about how restricted it is. Guys, I don't care what you do. God, he just doesn't want you promoting degeneracy to the world, but he wants you to laugh. He wants you to smile. He literally created laughter. He wants you to have fun. And then do not let yourself get comfortable being uncomfortable in ways that are going to make you unhappy, just because you're afraid to step out of your comfort zone. and find new environments. I hope this helps. And yeah, if it did, like and share it.